Success follows happiness. Let's be honest, we live in a world where most people think that happiness is gonna come from the outside world. Most people say, I'll be happy when I'm successful, or when I get the job, then I'll be happy, or when I get the good relationship, then I'll be happy. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. You see, it's the other way around. First comes happiness, and then comes success. Let me give you an example. Think back to when you were a kid, and you are at the store, and you're looking at a new toy that you really want. And you're telling yourself, oh man, if I had this toy, then I'd be really happy, and I would play with it all the time. And you can't stop thinking about this perfect new toy. And then one day, on your birthday, you open a present and the toy is there. And you feel this rush of good and happy energy, and you start playing with the toy. But then, over some time, the happiness goes away and you start taking the toy for granted. You don't even think about having the toy anymore. You just take it and play with it like it was nothing special anymore. And then you start to feel it again. You want the next best toy. And then you're telling yourself, when I get this toy, then I'll be really happy. And as you can see, you get stuck into this like vicious circle of when something happens, then I'll be happy. So how do we break out of this vicious and bad circle? Well, the answer is honestly pretty simple. And the answer is being grateful for the little things and for the things that we take for granted. I'll give you an example from my own life. About 2 years ago, I found out that there's something called electric longboards, and I got just totally obsessed with it. I was totally fascinated by the idea that a longboard can have motors and it can use electricity to basically go by itself. These things are pretty expensive, so I couldn't afford it at the time, but I really wanted it, so I started working really hard in order to get it. In the end, I waited for about a year and worked really hard and eventually ordered one of these things, and I was really happy and excited. When the longboard came to my home, I was so happy and so excited, but over time, as I got used to having the longboard there whenever I need it, I stopped feeling so happy about it, and I stopped being grateful for it naturally. So I had to become conscious about thinking to be grateful for it. You see, gratefulness is a very powerful emotion, and the best thing about it is that when you feel grateful, you can't feel sadness, or you can't feel loneliness, you can't even feel depression. You see, gratefulness is a feeling so powerful that it beats almost every negative feeling. So get into the habit of being grateful for the little things. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I don't see anything that I can be grateful for. But start with the littlest things. Start with being grateful that you woke up today. Be grateful that you have the internet access. Be grateful for having a vision. Be grateful for hearing. Be grateful that you're not one of the 150,000 people who died today. There's so many things that we can be grateful for in this life, because we live in the best era of the human history. Okay, so now that you're getting some momentum with happiness by feeling grateful, how do you amplify it to feel good most of the time, or to feel as good as humanly possible? And the answer is progress. You see, when you're making progress in your life, then happiness is just gonna come to you. How can you tell if you're making progress or not? And this is where comparison comes in. We are so used to comparing ourselves to others. on social media or in class and wherever. But that's what we really need to stop. But comparison is a powerful tool, and we should only compare ourselves to ourselves, but in the past. So let's say, compare yourself today to who you were yesterday. Ask yourself the question, am I better today than I was a year ago? Or am I better today than I was 5 years ago? So remember, happiness comes from making progress, and making progress will eventually lead you to being successful.